If Göbekli Tepe hadn't been found, none of this would have happened. Led to a widespread interest in the whole area, the world's oldest known megalithic stairway.
Göbekli Tepe may hold clues that could rewrite a large part of human history. This site was once thought to be simple, but new findings show it hides information far deeper than early researchers expected. Stone circles, animal figures, and symbols appear to tell a story that goes beyond simple worship.
And then if we look at them, they're covered in these engravings. So this is a fox.
The builders seem to have had knowledge that doesn't match the level of development historians placed on that era. The layout suggests planning, teamwork, and a reason for building that still confuses experts today. Even the decision to bury the site hints at a purpose that has not been fully understood. These clues pushed some researchers to look at the site from a different angle. Join us as we explore how Graham Hancock believes he has decoded the Göbekli Tepe mystery.
Göbekli Tepe was a game changer, but I think it's a game changer for everything, because Göbekli Tepe, the extraordinary nature of it, we're looking at a major megalithic site, which is at least 5,500 years old.
In 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt was searching through Neolithic sites in Turkey when he noticed a block of limestone sticking out of a hill. Locals called the place Potbelly Hill, Göbekli Tepe. Schmidt and his team began digging, unaware they were about to uncover something that would change everything we believed about the rise of civilization. We all learned the official version, the version promoted by mainstream archaeology. According to that timeline, Stone Age hunter-gatherers survived the last ice age, slowly discovered farming, and eventually formed settlements in Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent. Then, about 6,000 years ago, civilization officially began with ancient Sumer. Before Sumer, humans were supposedly simple. Their tools were basic. Their skills were limited. But at Göbekli Tepe, researchers uncovered 4 human-made enclosures carved from stone, spreading across 100,000 square feet. Interesting, yes, but there was a major issue. The earliest parts of Göbekli Tepe were built 11,600 years ago, around 6,000 years before the Sumerians built anything. This should not have been possible. At 11,600 years ago, humans were said to be nomadic hunters tracking animals across the landscape. They built temporary shelters or small huts at best. They were not expected to build enormous, permanent stone structures. They were not supposed to have the knowledge, the tools, or the organization required. And yet, the evidence was right there. As the excavation grew, the contradictions multiplied. The enclosures had not been built all at once. They showed continuous use. The newest parts were built 10,500 years ago. That means Göbekli Tepe was active for more than 1,000 years. 1,000 years may not sound like much at first, but in human history, 1,000 years is significant. Entire empires have risen and fallen in shorter periods. Digging continued, and for the academic establishment, the discoveries kept getting more troublesome. Göbekli Tepe was not the random work of primitive tribes. It had a plan. The 4 circles, ranging from 20 to 200 feet across, were aligned toward Sirius, the brightest star in the sky. Many ancient cultures aligned temples to Sirius, but not 12,000 years ago. Yet these builders did exactly that. Over roughly 1,100 years, Sirius shifted across the sky, and the people of Göbekli Tepe built new enclosures to follow each shift. To achieve this, they needed advanced astronomy, geometry, and engineering. A project of this scale also required planning, leadership, and organized labor. According to mainstream archaeology, Humans of that era should not have had these abilities, but they clearly did. Inside the circles stood T-shaped pillars, some reaching 16 feet and weighing up to 10 tons. So far, 43 pillars have been excavated. But that is only the beginning. Only 5% of the entire site has been uncovered. LiDAR scans reveal at least 15 to 20 more buried structures, and more than 200 additional stone pillars waiting underground. The pillars hold something even stranger. They carry detailed carvings of humans, animals, and human-animal hybrids. Foxes, lions, snakes, scorpions, boar, gazelle, an entire catalog of wildlife rendered with surprising skill. But here is the unusual part. The oldest pillars have the most advanced artwork. As the site gets younger, the artwork becomes simpler. It is as if complex technology and craftsmanship suddenly appeared, then slowly faded. Somehow, thousands of years before Stonehenge, the pyramids, or the invention of writing, humans were building all of this. So where did that knowledge come from? This is where the debate begins. Maybe our timeline is wrong. Maybe before the last ice age, Earth held an older and far more capable civilization. This civilization could have passed its knowledge to the hunter-gatherers who later lived at Gobekli Tepe, knowledge of building, math, and the stars. They could have also shared the story of the world before the Ice Age, when their society was thriving. That story may be carved on Pillar 43, the Vulture Stone. The Vulture Stone appears to describe the final days of these ancient people. It records a catastrophe. On Pillar 43 are star clusters, asterisms. It points to the constellation we call Scorpius. Constellations vary by culture, but the carving clearly shows a scorpion. When the sky is aligned with Scorpius, every carving on the stone lines up with known constellations. At the top of the vulture's wing is a sun symbol, marking its position relative to the stars. When you align the stars using this central sun, you get a star map, and every star map is a timestamp. Think about the Hoover Dam. On its floor is a map of the stars from the day the dam was completed. Why carve that there? To help future generations know exactly when it was built. The Vulture Stone shows a configuration of stars visible from Gobekli Tepe only once in history. It appeared during a 100-year span between 10,900 and 10,800 BC, about 13,000 years ago. But that is more than 1,000 years before Gobekli Tepe was constructed. So this carving is describing something older, something passed down. It tells the story of the Younger Dryas and the strike from the sky that transformed the planet. The Ice Age lasted about 2.6 million years. Most of the northern hemisphere was covered by sheets of ice miles thick. 30% of Earth's surface was covered by glaciers. This sounds bad, but for the human race, it was good. The climate was cold, but it wasn't cold everywhere. Most of Africa and the Middle East were warm, with plenty of plant and animal life. The climate was also consistent. For 2.6 million years, hominids lived in a stable environment. During this time, Homo sapiens emerged. We were born in the Ice Age. We thrived in it. Then the climate started changing. Temperatures became warmer year after year. The ice sheets slowly melted. Sea levels gradually rose. This would have been a concern for human civilization, but they were helpless to do anything about it. Then, suddenly, around 12,900 years ago, Earth got cold again. It was not as cold as before, but it was cold enough that humans understood how to survive in these conditions. This mini ice age was essentially a return to normal. But 1,000 years later, this age of normalcy ended violently and suddenly. The ice sheets melted as they had before, but not over 2.6 million years. This time, the ice melted in weeks. There was no time for civilization to adjust. This was the cataclysm. There is evidence of this cataclysm in ice core samples taken from Greenland and Antarctica. There is evidence in sediment cores from the bottom of lakes and oceans. There is evidence in organic material that has been carbon dated. But there is also evidence of this disaster on Pillar 43, the Vulture Stone. Along with giving us a date, the tablet also depicts the comet impact of the Younger Dryas. At the bottom of the pillar is a headless man linking the date to death. There is also a snake coming from the south. This has been said to represent 3 giant waves washing over the Earth. Those could have been the tsunamis that we know for sure happened. But Pillar 43 is only a piece of the story. Pillar 56 depicts more of the Younger Dryas impact, waves crashing and animals fleeing. Those are frightening. But to me, Pillar 18 is the most ominous carving at Göbekli Tepe. It contains the only written word on the whole site. The word is God. Maybe it was saying, "Oh God, we're going to die. Oh God, please save us." Pillar 18 in Enclosure D focuses on the constellation we know as Aquarius, but when it was built, the pillar was probably centered on Taurus. If that is true, we now have a much bigger piece of this puzzle. The comet Enki was discovered in 1786 and takes about 3 years to orbit the Sun. Enki is about 3 miles wide. Not huge, but not small either. The thing is, it used to be big. Much bigger. It was part of what scientists call a megacomet, 100 miles wide and made of ice, glass, metal, and rock. About 20,000 years ago, the megacomet broke apart. When the 100-mile megacomet broke apart, it created an enormous debris field. Instead of one megacomet, there were now millions of smaller comets ranging in size from grains of sand to over a mile across. When Earth passed through that cloud of debris, the people at Göbekli Tepe would have seen a firestorm of comets raining down, all coming from the Aquarius constellation, just as depicted on Pillar 43. But here is the scary part. We fly through that same debris field every year. It is called the Torrid Meteor Shower, and it has caused a lot of damage through the years. And if you are watching this in September, October, or November, we are flying through it right now. When Göbekli Tepe was discovered, big archaeology had no choice but to admit they had underestimated the technological abilities of early humans by about 5,000 years. It must be a mistake, they said. Their grant money depends on them being right. There is no need to fund a search for a mummy in a pyramid that is not going to be there. But in 2019, more trouble arrived for the mainstream. Excavation started at Karahan Tepe, about 40 miles from Göbekli. Initial estimates say it might have been settled before Göbekli. Göbekli seems to have been built for a single purpose, maybe a place of worship or an observatory. Karahan is different. It shows clear signs of a structured society. There are many different types of buildings at Karahan. Some could be shops or residences or food storage. Vessels, grindstones, flint plates, and many other objects have been found there. These types of artifacts have not been found at Göbekli Tepe, suggesting the two sites served different social functions. But these places existed at the same time. It is possible Göbekli was a religious center, while Karahan was a residential neighborhood or a shopping area. If that is true, there must be more settlements in the area yet to be found. There is more, much more. In 2021, the Turkish government announced the discovery of at least 11 additional hillsides containing structures similar to Göbekli Tepe. The hillsides form a 100-mile ring with Göbekli Tepe in the center. These sites are known collectively as Taş Tepeler. Instead of an area inhabited by nomadic primitives, Taş Tepeler is a metropolis. Saburs was uncovered by archaeologists in 2021, about 10 miles from Göbekli. Saburs is one of the most complex settlements in the area. Archaeologists found communal buildings big enough to seat 50 people. There are communal halls covered with countless engravings of humans and animals. To the south of the communal buildings are ancient residential homes. The layout of each Taş Tepeler site suggests hundreds of thousands of people lived there permanently after the Younger Dryas changed the face of the world. But there is a site discovered in 2008, about 180 miles away, that truly changed history and suggests Taş Tepeler may have been a capital in a very active region. While digging a dam in the area, engineers rediscovered the settlement of Göbekli Tepe. The Göbekli Tepe settlement is between 12,000 and 13,000 years old. That means it was built within the Younger Dryas cold period, before the flood. The structure found has features similar to Gobekli Tepe and other sites from this period in the region. The building has a unique architectural style, shape, and interior arrangement. With these features, we can say it is a temple that dates back 12,000 years. This is where the existence of an ancient advanced civilization becomes difficult to deny. Göbekli Tepe has everything found at Taş Tepeler: private buildings, public spaces, storage rooms, tools, and ornamental objects. It has mega and microliths. The people of Göbekli Tepe were so advanced they even built a sewer system. More than 130 skeletons have been found there, each buried with hundreds of thousands of beads. The manufacturing of beads shows a division of labor, an artisan class. It shows that people had time for more than hunting and gathering. They had time to make art. So big archaeology was wrong again. Very wrong. This area of Turkey shows that thousands of people lived there in organized communities. They built neighborhoods and temples. They had shops and large halls for gatherings. They had a division of labor. They were skilled at stonework. They understood mathematics and astronomy. They were capable engineers. And this was 12,000 years ago. But where is the evidence of people learning these skills? If the people at Göbekli Tepe were putting up 10-ton stone pillars 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, shouldn't we see communities learning these skills 15,000 years ago? 20,000 years ago? We should see an evolution of technology over thousands of years. But we don't. This advanced technology just appeared. But that is not completely true. The people in the area around Göbekli Tepe, Göbekli Tepe, and Sayonu were taught this technology after the Great Flood. It was a gift to them, a gift from the people of the sea. Mainstream archaeology gets many things wrong. Göbekli Tepe should not be there. Neither should Karahan Tepe, Göbekli Tepe, or any of the other settlements in the area. We are taught that the Great Pyramids of Giza are tombs built for pharaohs, but no mummy has ever been found in a pyramid. Not one. But inside the Great Pyramid, we did find hints that it may have been used as an ancient power plant. Big archaeology dislikes that idea. When I was growing up, we were told that Native Americans first arrived in North America by crossing the Bering Land Bridge in Alaska between 10,000 and 12,000 years ago. This was called the Clovis First Model because some stone tools were found in Clovis, New Mexico. Big archaeology was not even close about how people reached the Americas or when. The Monteverde site in Chile challenged the Clovis model when it was dated to 14,800 years ago. The Buttermilk Creek complex in Texas was dated to about 15,500 years ago. The Bluefish Caves in Yukon, Canada, have evidence suggesting human activity as far back as 24,000 years ago. There is also solid evidence that people from Polynesia in the South Pacific traded with and had families with tribes in Guatemala long before Columbus. They did not cross the Bering Land Bridge. They sailed thousands of miles across the Pacific Ocean. This means they had advanced shipbuilding skills, navigation knowledge, and an understanding of weather patterns. Big archaeology knew the Maya culture had a large population, but they were not seen as technologically advanced. That changed in 2023 when researchers deep in the Guatemalan jungle discovered a vast Mayan civilization covering more than 650 square miles. The cities were connected by a network of large roads. These roads were not simple paths. They were elevated for drainage and even paved with white plaster. The Romans are often credited with creating the first major road systems, but the Maya built theirs about 2,000 years earlier. They're the world's first superhighway system that we have. What's amazing is that they unite all these cities together like a spider web, forming one of the earliest state societies in the Western Hemisphere. Big archaeology was wrong about Mayan technology, but they still tried to explain it away. Mainstream scholars said that yes, the Maya had hundreds of miles of roads, but they did not have vehicles. They walked. No animals pulling carts and no wheeled transport. They said this was because the Maya never discovered the wheel. But Maya toys with wheels have been discovered. Big archaeology claims the Maya never thought to scale them up for carts. How do we know that? Big archaeology says, we know this because we haven't discovered the carts. They often accept a lack of evidence as proof, even when it defies basic reasoning. For years, big archaeology dismissed the existence of the city of Dwarka, the advanced Indian city said to have been taken by a great flood. That was labeled a myth. Then Dwarka was found and dated to the Younger Dryas. Atlantis is also dismissed, yet the Bimini Road in the Bahamas and an ancient underwater city off the coast of Cuba, possibly 6,000 to 50,000 years old, are difficult to explain. Mu, the continent said to have connected Greece to Easter Island, is also dismissed. Yet Greek and Polynesian languages share around 1,000 similar words. And the Yonaguni monument off the coast of Japan sits right where Mu is said to have been. Derinkuyu, the underground city in Turkey that protected 20,000 people, was also dismissed as a myth. Then a man tried to expand his basement and discovered it beneath his home. This pattern is why big archaeology insists there was no advanced culture before the flood, because they claim there is no evidence. But there is. Nearly every culture has a flood story. Long before Noah built the ark, a great flood was recorded in Mesopotamia in the Epic of Gilgamesh. If you enjoyed this journey into our hidden past, make sure to like and leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history's biggest mysteries.